Hello everybody, welcome back to the footy recap. So England do get the job done against Panama with 2-0, but in my opinion, still looking a little bit unconvincing in many areas of the pitch. I thought we looked quite open against Panama, which was quite a concern to be honest, first and foremost. But also going forward, obviously I think we created quite a few good chances. But also in many areas of the pitch, looking like we were getting out-muscled and outgunned for large parts, and without Declan Rice in that double pivot, we did look like when we were on the counter against us from Panama, we did look very, very open in many areas of the pitch. Honestly, they had a few chances as well, and we didn't limit them anywhere as near as much as we did against Ghana, but obviously against Ghana, they really did park the bus and give us basically no chances. But England with issues, in my opinion, mainly because it just doesn't look very convincing in the forward areas for me, especially when we are trying to build up and approach play against teams that are sitting in. We look very, very lost in terms of the style of play that we need to play in order to break these kinds of teams down. And in my opinion, I felt like we probably could have done more in many areas of the pitch in order to actually break them down. I thought we did more things right than we did against Ghana, though, and I'm going to talk about them in terms of playing the diagonal, a few balls in over the top. A few of those Jordan Henderson balls around the corner were quite nice as well. We did try a few more balls over the top and in behind, and they did work for the large part. Rashford and Saka in behind did get some joy with those long diagonals. Obviously, we've got issues with Reece James now, and you start to wonder, could we have taken Trent Alexander-Arnold? He probably would have been a better choice than Kwanzaa at right back. Right now, all of a sudden, with the injuries that we've picked up, which were fairly obvious in my opinion in terms of the types of players that do often get injured for England. Reece James has been injured for the past billion years, basically. Issues with injuries. Rice has played all season, and apparently he's got a bit of an issue, so he's been rested. And in general, I think all of a sudden England looking a little bit thin on the ground in some reasonably key areas of the pitch. It's not a disaster, obviously, at right back. Anthony Gordon also getting benched for Rashford. I thought Rashford, and I've been thinking Rashford in general is just far more impactful than Gordon has been. I know that Gordon is a good player, but I can't believe that Barcelona didn't buy Rashford for 30 million and then they bought Gordon for 70 million when Rashford was already at their club and doing well. Barcelona are a strange club. Sometimes they do weird stuff in terms of transfers. But I really do feel like Rashford had a much better game than Gordon. He was far more impactful. He was good at taking his man on. He got in behind a few times. He squared the ball a few times. And in general, I think England did function fairly well in there. But obviously, when you've got Morgan Rogers and Jude Bellingham in that similar area, I think they were stepping on each other's toes a little bit as well. In general, it looked a little bit disjointed from England. But the main thing is that we got the win. And obviously, we can build into the tournament now. We've got DR Congo as our next game, which honestly, out of all the draws, probably is about the easiest game that we could have got for the next game. So in reality, I think England will have a good chance of progressing after that, I would say. You would expect us to beat them and progress. After that, it's probably going to be Mexico at the Azteca, which is a very, very tough game at altitude as well. Not to mention at home for Mexico in the Azteca, that's going to be really tough. After that, it's probably going to be Brazil. And then after that, it's probably going to be Argentina. And then after that, it's going to be France if we get that far. So it's not going to get any easier for England, that's for sure. But I do feel like most of the teams that we're going to play from now on are going to try and play against us, which obviously gives us the chance on the break. And we do still have some of the best players in the world, fastest players in the world in terms of being able to go in behind and get the job done in those areas. I think it's pretty clear to me that England have got a very good chance of going far in this tournament, but we do need to make sure that we get it together in terms of our patterns of play. And also remember, the way to break these kinds of teams down, you have to have overlapping fullbacks. You have to play the balls in those diagonal channels over in behind to the wingers, give them a chance to get in behind one-on-one and create problems. Really, against Ghana, we did not turn them around anywhere near enough. I don't think we turned their defence around once, really, with the ball over the top. Or a runner in behind where you could get them worried, get them out of position, because obviously all of it being played around in front of them, it suits them down to the ground because they're just sitting in their shape. They're very comfortable and happy. And England didn't do anywhere near enough in that game to make them uncomfortable, to, try and bring them out of their shape or play balls in behind them so that they had to get turned and get into those kind of 50-50 situations where anything could happen. We did that a lot better against Panama, but they did give it a good go against us as well. And they came out of their shape far more than Ghana did. And in reality, I think They put a pretty good account of themselves. They did Panama. They had chances. They created dangerous situations. And they got through us quite easily in the midfield area. Obviously, it's probably going to be Elliot Anderson and Declan Rice in there, which would make you think that we're probably going to look a lot more assured in those areas regardless. But it seems to me that England look a little bit ragged in some of these games. And not the polished article that I probably would have expected from a manager like Tuchel, who likes things detailed, as he is German, as we know. He likes the details. And I think a lot of the players still not quite getting exactly what he wants to do. He looked quite unhappy with some of the players in basically all of our games that we played in terms of the kinds of roles that they were playing and the things he wanted them to do on the pitch. I think we could do with more overlap from the fullbacks. And I also think we could do with more balls in over the top. 50-50 situations need to be created where England are turning the opposing defence around. Because obviously we've got world-class players in build-up, but we still seem to be struggling quite a lot in terms of actually building up through the mid lane, creating chances against low blocks, which is obviously, as we know, very difficult. And there are many teams and many club teams that struggle against this as well. But I think England have to do more to try and work the defence when they are playing against low blocks. We'll see how DR Congo play against us. They're probably going to bank in and play on the counter-attack, as many African teams have been doing. But obviously, if we then play against Mexico, they're going to play because they're going to be at home at the Azteca, and they have been a team that hasn't really been sitting in. They actually want to play and, press and attack. And then it's probably going to be Brazil, and then it's probably going to be Argentina, and then France. I mean, they're all teams that are going to play, and they're going to give you chances. So it's interesting for England because you think we do struggle against these teams that sit in and defend well, but I think most of the teams that we are going to face from now on are probably not going to be like this. Unless, of course, we do see Colombia or a team like that are very physically aggressive come through and beat someone, then we end up playing them. Mexico, obviously, it's not a sure thing that they beat Ecuador. Ecuador could well beat Mexico as they did beat Germany. And Ecuador are a very physically aggressive team as well. And they do like to park the bus, but they'll also give you problems on the counter and pushing forward. So England have got a lot to think about, in my opinion. I think there are plenty of places that we can improve. I think there are plenty of places where England can probably do a little bit better in terms of the patterns of play, overlapping fullbacks, diagonal balls inside the channel, making late runs from midfield that can pick apart defences. But in general, you can't be too negative about that England performance. They got the job done. They looked like they were mostly in control of the game for the entirety of it. And I think really England will probably grow into this tournament a little bit more. I can imagine some of the big players will start stepping up. I think Bellingham's probably going to be the star of the show, but we'll have to wait and see. As always, guys, I do appreciate you watching. This was the footy recap. Let me know your thoughts down below. Like and subscribe and comment. Do all that, and I will catch you in the next one. Take care.